Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Saihate no Paladin. Episode... what episode is it? Episode 7. Yes, right, okay. So, it's been a while, but Helk has ended. What else has ended? Shield Hero has ended. Now I have a little bit more time to make up for all the shows I haven't seen, and I should have. So here we are with Saihate no Paladin. What happened in episode 6? In episode 6, Will and the team, that is Meneldor, Reistov, who else was with them? Gu, of course, I mean, no longer Gu, Vindalfar, and that other dwarf, not Hiram, not Agnar, Gelreis. Gelreis was also with them, and nobody else, I don't think. And they went downriver, I believe? Yeah, downriver. They switched their boat midway through, concealed their existing boat, or rather their new boat, and went upstream to throw off any potential pursuers or spies or whatever, because they have reasons to believe that the demons are spying on them. Why did they go upriver? Well, one of the reasons was, of course, that this is where Will's home is. Will's home, where Mary, Blood, and Gus all non-live. Because they don't live. They're not alive, not even Gus. And, Will had some nice chance to talk to Mary and Blood a little bit, talk about his new friends, then introduce them to Gus, of course, and in the end, we also were introduced to an armory by Gus. Armory that houses weapons and armor of the heroes past, I guess you could say, of the heroes that were also fighting alongside our trio, alongside Will's family, but they died earlier before them, and their weapons and their armor was stored here. I mean, maybe died, maybe they just, they just defected, they just said, oh no, I don't want to do that anymore. We don't know. What we do know is that their weapons and armor is here. Everybody got some new upgrades. Will got a brand new tower shield. Gu, Vindalfar, got a... what was it, a bardiche? No, we established it wasn't a bardiche, it was a halberd, I believe. Reistov got his sword enchanted by Gus because he didn't want anything new. What else? No, sorry, I think it was Gelreis who got the bardiche, and Vindalfar got an armor? Something like that. Everybody got something, in any case. And Menel got a bow with a mithril string, which not many people can use, but Menel, of course, can. And yeah, that's basically where we ended. Now I assume we might spend a little bit more time in the temple, and then we will set off to defeat the dragon v something. Oh right, and Will got a little bit more info about the dragon. We know that it probably can't be harmed in melee. It probably can't be harmed with magic. In general, it just cannot be harmed. In general, it's quite invincible. We might be successful in bribing it, though. So maybe we can go on an expedition into the Lost City nearby and maybe scavenge some money and offer it to the dragon and say, hey, you know, the demons paid for your services here, we're paying double, and could you go and kill the demons instead? Could we do that maybe? And leave us alone? So, we'll see what they do. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that does it. What about today's episode? Oh, I just talked about it, right? That we might go to the city and scavenge some coins. We might, or we might just leave the temple and we might just, I don't know, go straight for the dragon. Although it's episode 7, so, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 6 more episodes to go, really, including this one. So I don't think they will set off for the dragon that early. Unless the dragon is just a stepping stone and there's gonna be still some episodes after defeating it. We'll see. But for now, we'll see this episode, right? To do that, you will of course need your subs. There we go. To follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. And I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 7 of Saihate the Paladin Season 2 in 3, 2, 1, go. Al? Not Guru. Sorry. Oh, so he does get a halberd. Oh, blood? Yes, but it is also a weapon. And weapons are meant to be used. Right? Also, Will already has a spear and a sword, so he has the close range and the mid range covered, and a sling, so also long range. Ru, meanwhile, has just a halberd, so he does need something in close range. Not necessarily a stiletto, right? He could have picked anything else from the armory, but sure, stiletto also works. Yeah, when are we meeting her? She's decently prominent in the opening, and we still have no clue who she is, do we? Unless she was someone who appeared in season 1 and I just simply forgot. That's entirely plausible. Wait, didn't someone leave a comment under one of my videos about who she is? As in, we've seen her before, but I just forgot. Possible. I don't have the best memory, I'm sorry. That's why I have my notebook. Eyelash in my mouth. Go figure. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, Port City, Torchport City would still be threatened by the dragon, whether the dwarves were here or weren't, right? So one way or another, Will would have to fight it. Are Will's eyes in some of those shots a little bit different than usual, or am I tripping? I don't recall his eyes being quite as droopy. And that's today's dinner. Burgers? Hey, sure. Veal burgers. You could try spearfishing. Maybe that would be easier. You know, warrior would probably be better with spear than fishing rod. I mean, he's an elf. He was born with a bow in his hand. Honestly, try spearfishing. Yes. That's actually a good point, isn't it? He was never actually around any humans as a kid, was he? He can't even, like, necessarily tap into his Japanese knowledge either, because he doesn't really remember much about his past life, does he? Also, you are kind of living in a world where fighting is necessary, unless you're like a nobility living in a big capital city on the next continent over. Because on this continent, your city might just be attacked by a wyvern and you will die regardless. So, knowing how to fight is just plain useful, plain necessity, even. It's 5 hours until midnight, and they're already firing fireworks. Valakirka, that's the name. I mean, yeah, probably. Can you grow stronger in like 6 episodes, though? Right. I would not be dead, but I would not be alive either. Or, well, I would be alive, but I wouldn't be living. You know, something along those lines. Al, why are you calling him Al? R. Vindalfar. Vindalfar? That's why Al? Maybe. Yeah. You can always aim for weak spots. Or you could, I know, give them a scroll or a couple, enchant their armor maybe, for fire resistance, you know, stuff like that. There are things you can still do. Not to mention, you could hunt around those ruins. Maybe you would be able to find something useful. I mean, Will got his spear there, right? So. Now, granted, they already do have weapons, really good weapons, but who knows what lurks in those ruins. Is that where we meet our elven lady? I mean, points to Meneldor. Wait, is Menel's bow like folded up on the quiver? I thought it's just a decoration of some sort, but I think that's his bow folded up. So, chances are there are still survivors. Elves, right? Oh, no. The opposite of elves. A dead forest. Like, dead. Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. If you can't get to them, you can just destroy everything around. Okay, so is that what's gonna take up those 6 episodes? All the, like, adventures on the way to the Dragon Mountain? Well, Rust Mountain, but you know what I mean. Dragon lives there, so a Dragon Mountain by now. No, not really. Those snakes are dying at a single hit, so... I mean, okay. I guess they can grab you and drown you, so... that is a danger, indeed. Clear water spell? Use your sword. There we go. No, that's a... That's not your soul-stealing sword. That's a stiletto of some sort. Where's your spear? Yeah, we can just do that. We can just do that. That was another spell. Well, prayer, yeah. For someone who doesn't have a direct line to the goddess of light, maybe, but... Oh, some sort of a city. Elven city built of stone? Curious. I mean, the river just goes one way, so not like you have a choice. Fair. You can kill Valakirka and then come back and help the elves. Oh, I guess it's like it became like a mangrove forest, so you could technically sail between the trees. Well, freedom. Bye bye. That was a lot of zombies. Elf zombies, apparently. Yep. You knew her? And we also get guidance. That's good. I'm assuming an elven greeting or something like that. Elven farewell, elven sign of... I don't know. Like a salute, maybe? Okay. That's fair. You need to just fucking disappear, yes. If Frieren taught me anything, it would be that, yeah, Elven sense of time is a little skewed. So is that where we meet our Elven maiden? Hydra? Yeah, it certainly seems that even if you cut off its head, the body still lives. Yeah, looks like a Hydra. Yep, just burn it. It's not gonna be able to regenerate. Him? That ain't a him, my dude. 3 tanks, 1 mage. That is a team for sure. Well, I guess 2 tanks and... Whoa, okay. 2 tanks, a melee fighter, and a mage. 2 melee fighters and a tank, and a mage. Easy. Burn it, just, you know, to make sure. Okay, purification spell, easy. To your everyday... Oh. Okay. Well, don't refuse. I mean, don't you see the ears? Of course, brethren. Interesting. Prayer doesn't work on the unwilling. Huh. Oh, and that's the episode. Okay. I guess that kinda sorta explains why there are no, like, offensive prayers. At least we haven't seen any, right? You cannot pray for someone to get an internal hemorrhage, or however you pronounce it, if they can just say, no, I don't think I will, and the prayer doesn't work. Huh. Interesting. The magic system of this world is really interesting at times. Like what we learned in Season 1, for example, where you cannot use your words, magic words, you cannot pronounce them too perfectly, because then the magic will be so powerful that it will harm even you. Right? If you pronounce fireball perfectly, you're just gonna be caught in the blast. So you always have to say it with a little bit of a lisp, or maybe wrong accent, or something like that. Next episode, The Land of Flowers. Yeah, so on the way to confront Valakirka, we will be staying in the Elven Forest. So I guess we will be helping the elves before we go to Valakirka, so yeah, makes sense why there is more episodes than I thought would be necessary to cover the arc. Let's watch it again. Isn't the hook on the wrong side? What hook? Where do you see a hook, my dude? It's just a normal, regular ass stiletto that looks like perfectly ambidextrous. No, there isn't even any hook on the bottom. I thought that maybe on the top there is this gem and on the bottom there is a hook so that you, I don't know, hook it on your belt or something. But no, this stiletto is perfectly whatchamacallit, not mirrored. I guess mirrored in like 2 axes, right? So it's not right-handed, it's not left-handed. I guess it was supposed to be like explicitly right-handed in the source material, and in the show they just, you know, gave it a random look. I assume it's the same case for the rest of the armory, right? All of those weapons were supposed to be more or less unique. Meanwhile, we have like 7 swords that are the exact same, except they have like different colored scabbards. Cost cutting measure. Yeah, cost cutting measure. Blood's stiletto. Did we ever see that in season 1? I don't recall Blood giving him a stiletto. Maybe I'm just mistaken, maybe I just don't remember it. I've already received plenty of valuable gifts from him. Yep, sure. The elven lady isn't here, but yeah, she does appear in the opening, and we finally get to meet her. That's good. Asleep beneath the water. Cleaning. It is my duty to rebuild my kingdom. I'd want to tell myself that it's not as great as it sounds, but you'd still do it. Yeah, I mean, sure. If putting my life on the line will set their souls alight. I can't remember where I heard it, but giving your life for the cause is easy, but living to see it through is not. Like, something along those lines. I can't remember where I heard it or what the exact quote is, but essentially, the general gist of it is that it's easy to say, oh, I will give up my life for the kingdom and dying in the battle to retake the kingdom. It's harder to survive that battle and help the kingdom rebuild. Or, in case of Ru, to become a king, for example, because he's the next in line, right? It's easy to give up your life. It won't be as easy to rule over the Iron Mountains. Also, interested what would the relationship between Will and Ru be once Ru becomes a king, right? A king, but at the same time a thane of a mayor of a city. You know, it's kind of screwy. Also, what is Will's like official rank? Is he a mayor? Is he a I don't know, a baron or baronet or something like that? I don't know. I feel as I've dragged you into my own problems. I knew I'd have to fight too, and you didn't drag Will into anything. He would still have to fight the dragon anyway. Also, those droopy eyes. He sometimes has them, but in general he doesn't. I wonder if some of those scenes were probably not outsourced. No, they look actually decent. Too decent to be outsourced. I wonder why the discrepancy. I don't know, maybe it's supposed to just convey the emotion of, like, being I don't know, tender or something. I swear on my father's dagger. Yep. Veal burgers. That's interesting. I'm actually kind of surprised that nobody is like questioning it, because usually when you see an isekai protagonist prepare some food, everybody is like, what? Rice with vegetables? I've never heard you can do such a thing. It's delicious though. Right? That's like the usual trope. Although Will doesn't remember much from his past life. So to say that he's recreating burgers would not be a true statement, I don't think. Especially since this veal has been like sliced thinly and not ground, or at least, you know, chopped finely and formed into patties. How did you fell this deer? Oh, no biggie. I just, you know, concealed my presence, just walked into it, fired, and its heart just kind of approached my arrow. You know how it is. Gus must be remembering how his own group, his own team was, how they were bickering and laughing at dinner time, right? That's what this look is, 100%. Humans have flesh that feels warm to the touch, and they breathe. The friends you'll make one day won't look like the three of us. That is actually like a very good point. And a very important thing to teach Will that he is a human. He is different than all of you. Getting wounded will actually harm him. He can bleed out. He needs to breathe. He needs to sleep, right? He needs all those things. And people around, chances are they won't be undead either. So get used to people not looking at us, not behaving like us, not being like us. Valor is the strength to destroy injustice, but it's also a curse. There are times when you can't give up because you know you're strong. Yeah, I know I'm strong and I see some injustice, so of course I will go and destroy that injustice. Because I have to, because I'm valorous, because it is a curse. Can't remember the title of the manga, but there is a manga, I think it's also based on a light novel, where one of the characters has, you know, there's the concept of you are born with a given class, or no, when you reach this certain age, you touch an orb, and the orb tells you what your class is, right? And someone becomes a farmer, someone becomes a soldier, someone becomes a hero. And if you become a hero, it's also a curse because you are compelled to help. Someone screams help, you rush there. You don't have a choice. Someone asks you to help them carry some boxes, you'd help them. You don't have a choice. Someone tells you a dragon needs killing, you go and kill the dragon. You can't stop yourself. Very interesting concept. Really. And they're doing some really interesting things with it, like a drug that suppresses those instincts, for example, that there perhaps might be a way to remove those compulsions, to keep the class but remove those compulsions. Some people are like trying to even get rid of their classes or switch them around. It's really cool because very often, most often actually, in a world with a system like that, you see people just kind of accept it. Oh, I'm a blacksmith, cool. Sure, I'm just gonna be a blacksmith and I'm gonna do that. And it's never actually really mentioned. It's just used as a way to RPGify the story. Meanwhile, that manga, and again, I can't remember the name, just makes it an integral part of the world, and it's just great. Regardless. There's no way I could ever hate you. Can only survive amidst the chaos of war. It's unlikely you can avoid a fight. Yeah, sure, but Will is strong enough. someone else might die. This is like a big thing though, because I do trust in William to survive. I do. He absolutely will. He's an absolute powerhouse. The rest though, I can easily see Gelreis dying. Reistov probably not. Menel certainly not. Vindalfar certainly not either. But I can see Gelreis dying. I can 100% see that. If I threw away everything to survive, it would just mean I wasn't dead. That's a very, like, philosophical thing, isn't it? What does it mean to live? What does it mean to be alive? There's a difference. You can live and not be alive. You can be alive, but you need to put actually some effort into it. Right? There is that distinction. There is that distinction. I would know. For 2 years, when I had, like, fucking clinical depression, I certainly was alive, but I certainly wasn't living. So there is a difference. Trust me. I learned in both my past life and this one that's not good enough. Yeah, right. Will does remember more or less his past life. They're all prepared. Who do you take after? Blood. Simple answer. The eye wound. Yeah, that's the only choice. I still think it would be beneficial to scavenge in those ruins, but oh well. And again, is this a bow folded up and hung onto his quiver? Or is that a decoration on the quiver? I think it's a bow. I know though. Lothdor. Yeah, that's a bow. Land of the Elves. I like those little tidbits of history that, hey, you know, the dwarves were logging the forest and the elves didn't like it, and that's why we don't really like each other. Right? It didn't came out of nowhere. There is a reason for that, like dwarven elven hate. Skirmishes grew violent, but they were still our neighbors, yeah? Maybe even they are alive. Perhaps not in a forest like that. This is cool. This little scene really shows a lot of emotion and a lot of restraint. And just this simple line, how regrettable. Right? He's shocked, he's angry. You would expect him to be like, what the fuck just happened? You know, screaming at the top of his lungs. But no, instead of that, he... How regrettable. You know, just keeps it in, bottles it up. Interesting. I really like this little moment in this episode. The river's flow changed in 200 years. Again, I'm assuming that's another adaptation. Woe adaptation issue, because there is a river. You can see there is a river, and everything around is a forest, a flooded forest, but a forest nonetheless. There is still one singular river that you can follow, though. So what are you talking about? Why are you asking for directions? I'm assuming in the source material it was more like a sparse mangrove forest, perhaps, without, like, you know, one straight river going down the middle. We can't let them live. But yeah, Valakirka is probably your biggest issue right now. So defeat Valakirka, come back, and destroy the words of Taboo. That's a strong snake. Where does this spear go? I think it falls inside of the boat. I don't think Will lost it. I can see a thing, in which case just water purification, just casually purifying the river. You know, a prayer that is meant to purify like a cup of water or a bottle of water so that you don't dehydrate yourself during your travels. Just casually purifying an entire, well, a stretch of a river. Why not? I mean, that's Will, all right. That's the Will we know and love. And yeah, this is just a random dagger. Where is... Oh, yeah, his sword is still on his hip. So he has a sword, a spear, a sling, and a dagger. Good to know. And just bastare. Just bastare the whole river. I love it. I love just the sheer scale of it. And the fact that Will just has this angry expression, just, you know, climbs back onto the boat and those fuckers, I wanted to play fair, but bastare. And just kills every single snake. That's great. That's amazing. The water clear. The water suddenly turned clear. Yes, it did. And yes, Will is absolutely brute forcing. There's not a subtle body, not a subtle bone in his body. I am going to call you back. I'm sorry for that. There's not a subtle bone in his body. When he casts Vastare, he's not like casting it at every single individual snake. No, just explode the river. The change in terrain, apparently not in this mess. Oh yeah, such a big mess. A river. Ruins. Interesting that elven architecture is actually like based on stone as well, some marble or something. Usually in fantasy, elves live in houses that are grown from trees or just made out of wood. You rarely, if ever, see stone architecture, right? Okay, so we are approaching some sort of a lake. Good to know. The Fae around here are weakened. So we need to row the boat. Zombies, of course, purified, cleared, released to Gracefield. You don't always have to fight. Monsters? Yes, you can fight. Undead? No need. You can just free them. We should go that way as quickly as possible. Yes. Full speed ahead. Don't trust an elf's sense of time. I like it. I really like that. It's a thing. That, yeah, elves are nearly immortal, so of course their sense of time would be a little bit different than ours. When an elf says, wait a sec, they're thinking, see you next year. If Frieren taught us anything, that would be it. And as quickly as possible means fucking teleport. Thankfully, they were on time. Sagita Flammeum. Easy. Sure, it's a Hydra, but they're really making short work of it. I really like this bisection. It's so cool. You rarely see bisections being like this detailed, with all of the spine, bones, and the brain, and like nasal cavity and all that. It's great. It's great. And they're really working well together as a team, so hey, that's good. Now they have a fight behind them. They know what each of them can and cannot do. They know how to work together. It's going to be easier to fight Valakirka. Hydra's poison cannot be neutralized by your everyday miracle. Well, thankfully we have William, who dishes out anything but everyday miracles. She's been bitten. You can't. Hydra poison deadly. The prayer of oh, it's just specifically the prayer of healing. won't work if she refuses it. I thought it pertains to every single prayer, but no. Apparently it's just Prayer of Healing. Perhaps some other prayers as well, some buffs and whatnot. North, my people's village. So we know that there are still elves left. And there is a whole village of them. That's good. Perhaps we will shift our priorities a little bit and we will help the elves first. Then we will go after Valakirka. Alternatively, tell the elves where the Torchboard City is and they can just go there. Right? If the forest isn't livable, might as well go there, wait it out, and on their way back, we'll just cleanse the forest and you can move back. He's no ordinary priest indeed. Accept his miracle, miracle accepted. And that's it. That's the end. What? I completely missed the title of the next episode. The Land of Flowers. Not Ledale. Ledale is like a completely different series, but yeah, some sort of a whatever it was called. Whatever it was called. So. Good episode. Good episode. I had fun watching it. Again, fairly slow-paced. It's not like rushing events quickly. There is time for Will and Rue to do some cleaning and have a heart-to-heart with each other. Right? I really like this show because of that. Sure, sometimes it might create the feeling that just nothing happens. Absolutely. Take the first episode of this season, for example. The first episode of this season can just be summed up as nothing really happens, right? But in an episode like this, where there is a balance of nothing happening and something happening, it works really well. The story, the pacing is methodical, they're not rushing anywhere, but they're also not going on 50 different side quests while they have a limited amount of time to get to Valakirka, like, it sometimes is. How many stories are there? How many manga, light novels, anime where the demon lord is awakening in a month, and you have 587 chapters of our main characters doing anything but defeating the demon lord, and it somehow works out, right? So this show strikes a really nice balance there. That's good. That's cool. What else? I really like Will. I really like how he's not a paladin because he's a paladin. He's a paladin because he's a warrior and a priest. If that makes any sense, right? Like, a paladin is someone who is like half a warrior, half a priest. Meanwhile, William is full warrior, full priest, full mage. He's like 3 people in one, essentially. He's the Holy Trinity. And it shows, because it shows even when he's using how do I say it? Like, you can see cross-contamination in those classes, so to speak. Sure, he's a mage, he can cast Vastare, but he's also a warrior, so he relies on brute strength. So when casting Vastare, he relies on the brute strength of Vastare, right? When using a cleansing prayer, he relies on the brute strength of that prayer. It's cool. It's really cool. I really like it. Very often you have characters who are perhaps just as overpowered as Will, perhaps even more so, who embody like the best traits of every single class they have, right? Their magic is incredibly intricate, their strength is incredibly brutal, their prayers give them the direct contact to the Lord, right? Everything is perfect in the confines of its own class. Meanwhile, when it comes to Will, I really like that there is that cross-contamination. Like, he wouldn't be able to control a pen finally with his magic and write a letter. He would just stab the parchment with the pen. It's cool. I just really like it. I just really do. The fight with Hydra was cool, and again, fairly quick. That's also something I actually don't mind. I was kind of thrown off by it early on with the first fights, but now I really like it, actually. I really like it that we're not wasting time on hiding somewhere behind a rock and discussing the battle plan. Meanwhile, Hydra is just standing there. Where are they? Where have they gone? Right? Like, you very often see that. Characters just talking and talking and talking and talking, and the enemy just... Take your time. I'm not some bore to, to interrupt you. Take your time, make your plans. I'm in no hurry. No, not the case here. Not the case here. There's an enemy, we're rushing in, there's no time to talk. We just kill it. Boom, done. Wash our hands off. There we go. Save the elf. Done. It's cool. Also, I really like how everybody is useful in fight. There's nobody who would be, I don't know, cowardly. Nobody who would be just a dead weight or just not partaking in a fight. And they really work well together. Besides maybe Rastov. Rastov is kind of a loose cannon. But Ru and Gelreis worked really well together with the help of Will, additionally. They're like intertwining. That's cool. That's cool. Another good episode. We meet an elven waifu. Maybe someone for Menel. Maybe William will finally find a girl, or maybe not. I mean, who's to say? We haven't really had any any romantic interest, did we? Rastov and Anna. There is something going on there. Well, Blood and Mary, but does it count really? They were already in love back then. I don't know. I would like some, subtle romantic undertones, romantic subplots, something like that. I think it would add something nice to the series. Just a little bit of, I don't know, hot sauce to the dish, where it doesn't become hot itself, but you can feel it on the back of your tongue when you eat too much. Something like that. In general, though, good episode, good show. I'm gonna be coming back to it, of course, very, very soon, because I don't have much anime to record, so it's just gonna be pretty much Ancient Magus Bride and Saihate no Paladin for the next however long. But yeah, I think right now that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do... no, wait, what am I doing? That's gonna be all from me. If you guys have something more to add, what did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that, say so in the comments down below. No spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to Discord here and in the description below. Like this video if you did, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Saihate no Paladin, but also Ancient Magus Bride, Shy, plenty others. New season is beginning, and I'm gonna be streaming my look at the shows of the next season, so click the bell to be notified when I go live with that. Support the channel if you want to be notified of... support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Magia Record, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube itself via memberships, super thanks, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Net, Group Survivor, Zayrain, Akamaster, Dr. Watt, Marsh, Yuka, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to fight a Hydra.